We are Witches Who Podcast. Hi, Dee.
Hi, Shelby.
Actually, I have a few questions for you. One, the huge. Anything weird happened lately? Second, after our last episode, I just wanted to check in a bit and see how you're feeling.
Oh, man. Okay. All right. So weird things. I feel like very often weird things happen, but it's so often it's the same. It's like it becomes natural, right? Like maybe somebody listening will be like, that is weird that, you just see shadows around the garden, or, the lizards will come up to where you're sitting and kind of look at you and have a actual conversation. But I don't find that too weird. However, when our last episode, I think nothing really weird was happening until I talked to you. Okay.
Whoops.
So I would like for you to share. What?
Hold on.
What do we do? The door's not open.
Yeah, we're gonna start over because I keep on hearing this freaking reverb, and I figured out on the last episode because we didn't close the door. Because it's echoing out, and I can't fix it. So sorry, let's start over.
Okay.
Which is fine. I guess it'll give us more time to figure out how we're gonna say. I'll ask a better question this time.
Okay. No, that was.
I think I'm just gonna go straight into how we're feeling.
Oh,
after
you know
the last
what?
episode.
No, you know what? No. Okay. Anything weird happen? Well, just other than usual shadows and this and that, I'll say, I was like, but I have a feeling something weird happened to you, and then I'll just turn it back.
Okay. Sounds good.
So,
all right. Does that sound better? That sounds so much better.
sounds good. Oh yeah, I definitely.
can
That
hear it.
makes a huge difference. So
Yeah.
weird. The invention of doors.
I know,
Nice.
right? Ridiculous. Okay. Yes. Starting over. My bad.
Wait, I feel bad. Wait.
What?
I feel bad. For this thing got caught here.
Oh.
Look at that.
Oh.
Whoosh.
Poor buddy.
I think it's good.
It's gonna do it again.
Like, man, well, now you take that. Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm gonna do that, okay?
Okay.
Got all the wiggles out of the way?
Okay, I'm done. Yeah, I feel like I need to like. Oops, shit. Okay. Is this better? Do we need to like move that way now?
I don't know. Looks like I almost feel like
I'm a little bit more behind the table.
oh yeah, and I'm more it's just probably we're fine.
Do you want to
I
come
think
behind here? Is it awkward?
I'm more comfortable here.
Yeah, just. It's fine. I think it'll be
I'm
fine.
gonna rotisserie all the way around at some point. So.
Okay, perfect. All right, ready?
Are we recording?
Yeah, it's still recording.
Oh,
Never
it's
stopped.
true.
Right? How do we know? Yeah, it's recording. Whatever.
Okay.
Okay.
So you start.
Yeah. Hey, Dee.
Hey, Shelby.
So, anything weird happened lately?
I always have weird things happening. So other than the usual weirdness of shadows and speaking to animals, not much. But I'm curious if anything weird happened to you lately, especially after our last episode on the D word.
So, yeah, we're not saying that word anymore. Full disclosure.
Oh my gosh.
I overdid it.
What?
Like hardcore. Okay, so if you guys are just tuning in, last episode we recorded was all about demons. And I named them all off and I went all in. I also didn't stop there. Obviously, like leading up to the episode, I had to do a bunch of research.
Yeah.
So I've been like deep in the demon trench for a little while now, right? Like at least a week, maybe a little bit longer. And so I was watching documentaries and I was Googling stuff on the internet and reading books and like all these things to gather information for this episode. And I think it's finally started to kind of play a little toll on my mental health a little bit because I started to kind of get really nervous. Like I just started feeling like it was after we recorded. So we're having a conversation, the whole thing. And I even like went through my whole house, saged and Palo Santos, like opened all the windows, like, all right, we're done with this. Like, bye-bye. And then that night I went to bed and I just kept waking up like constantly because I kept feeling like right now I feel like I can't get a good breath in because I'm talking about the show.
Oh my
I feel like,
God. Do we need to open the window? Maybe we should.
maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
But so that night I just kept waking up, and I kept waking up and like looking in the corner of my room and feeling like just dark like energy like looming over me. And I had to like do the whole like, okay, no, this isn't, go away. Like, this is not, you are not welcome here. Like, and I have this like really strong system, like energetic system around my house that like nothing can come in here that isn't of my highest good, that isn't like love frequency. Like, no. Well, I don't know if I just let like kind of pulling more information in and like opened that door a little bit, or like softened my
What else
protections.
did you do?
I watched a bunch of documentaries. Like, that was what it was. Like, I think that's what it was, is that like, yeah, about demons and shit. And
After we did the show.
yeah, after mhm, that night. And then I went to bed, same thing. So then I had to wake up. I woke up like so many times in the middle of the night. So then that was, I don't remember when that was, but then the next few days were just weird. Like, I just kept feeling like really like anxious, not good. And then the other night, my husband woke up and was just super sick, like all night. All night. And then I kept waking up. Like, it was so weird because I'd wake up when he woke up, but I didn't know he was awake. So I was waking up like scared, thinking that there was something in my house. But he was awake because his stomach hurt and was like in the bathroom. And
oh my gosh.
I'm like, but I didn't know that. Like, my brain like wasn't turning on all the way. It was such a weird, like, I don't even know. It was so strange. And so last night I woke up again in the middle of the night and just, I felt like it definitely wasn't as strong as it was before, but I still felt it. And I was like, okay, enough is enough. So I literally got up and went downstairs, like on the landing. I feel like that's kind of like close to the middle of my house. And I just kind of meditated and built this big white light energy ball and then expanded it out through my whole house. And it just pushed anything that wasn't negative just out through every corner out of my house to be transmuted back into the ethers. And now it feels like my house again.
Oh my gosh.
It was like, I definitely let something in here just by giving it attention in not the right way. Like, I know I joke about manifesting a poltergeist and stuff, but like a good one, like a funny Casper like poltergeist, not a effing demon.
Yeah.
Like, so
Girl, that's not
know,
weird. That's just horrifying.
that's just, yeah, pretty horrible.
Oh God. I'm glad you did it, because we will not be recording here today.
Right.
I'll be like, oh, hell no.
Yeah. And it's never felt like that here ever. I don't even think it felt bad in here. I think I was just like, I scared myself.
Yeah.
I think is what it was.
You know what? I didn't think that could be possible.
Yeah, me
because
neither.
Dang. Must have been some documentaries and stuff you were watching. But I'm just so, I know you're into like, loving and watching stuff like that, but it was after we did the episode.
Yeah, because
so
I've
it was
watched
in
stuff
your
like that
queue.
all the time. Like
Yeah.
all the time, and never, it was
just
me
opening.
talking about it and like, I don't know what it was. So when
Anybody got you.
yeah, see, Kate got poor Christian because he's the one that got sick. So
Oh my
whoopsies.
gosh. No. Wow. Okay. No more of that. Okay. No.
Yeah, so that's what happened, and
That
so
is terrifying.
yeah. So disclosure, everybody, if you haven't listened to that episode, be careful. If you have, go take a bath or something.
We'll put a disclosure in the show notes.
Yeah.
So make sure to read our show notes.
Yeah,
They may
just in case.
save you from a demon.
Yeah.
Weird
Quite
attachments
literally.
you don't want.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man. Okay. So, these aside, what are we doing today?
Ooh, yeah. Oh, but first, I'm Shelby,
Oh, hi, I'm Dee.
and we are Witches Who Podcast, who don't summon demons.
No.
On purpose, at least.
Not on purpose.
So today I am super excited about, this is part one of our two-part series on, what is it again? Ancient astronaut. I keep saying
I
it
am
wrong.
so excited.
Ancient astronaut theory.
Yes.
Yes, it's going to be amazing. So I guess we could just jump right in.
Yes, please. You have all the notes. I'm
have
just so
a lot of
excited
notes
to hear all about it.
Okay.
Perfect.
So I have a million notes, and I'm just going to set them here and read them. So what is ancient astronaut theory, first of all? So it's this like concept or this theory around ancient civilizations being influenced by extraterrestrials, by aliens, like ancient, like thousands of years ago, civilizations were influenced by ETs. Ancient structures, technological advancements, and different stuff like that was all like evidence of alien intervention rather than just human evolution in these ancient cities.
Yeah, and I think it's super true because you see it in the what's it called? Hieroglyphics?
Hieroglyphs, yeah.
Yes, you see like depictions, and I don't know how people can still deny it. It's like, oh, it kind of looks like it, and you're making it be like an alien. But then the more you find out, it's like, yeah, they were these ETs that, people just don't want to pay attention to.
Absolutely. Well, and it's extremely consistent throughout cultures. Like there's so many cultures that have like even just like religious texts are super similar, right? And there's even theories where like some of these like gods and deities that are said to be these ETs or these aliens are the same across cultures. They're just being interpreted in their own through their own lens, right? And of course, there is a lot of skepticism around this theory, mostly because there really is a big lack of scientific evidence. All we can really go off of is, interpretation of these ancient, hieroglyphs or these tablets that have, ancient writing on them or whatever. But who knows if it wasn't all metaphor or, whatever. So this is really open to your discernment. But yeah, so mainstream historians, archaeologists, and academics are not on board with this. And I'm sure you've probably heard of Graham Hancock's work.
I love him.
I love him too. And the poor guy has been drugged through the freaking ringer.
Yeah.
They, call him a pseudoscientist and all this crap. But then there's shows on the History Channel about this stuff.
I know.
So it's like, okay.
They're always trying to discredit the truth,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and I get it. We should all have our own opinion. Like, don't take my word for it. Listen to this episode. I'll freaking throw a bunch of links to some documentaries you can go watch and draw your own conclusion.
Absolutely.
Right? Like,
absolutely.
Here's my thing. What is the biggest like difference and like the leap in faith versus believing in God as a sentient being versus an extraterrestrial, right?
It's like the same thing.
Right? Because one is metaphoric.
Well, neither of them can necessarily be proof. Necessarily, I don't think. Like God, yes, there's all, there's, I don't know, the image of Jesus on something. Yeah. And it's like, it cannot be. But also there is like the pyramids.
Yeah.
know? And I feel like it's almost, you can't fully prove either. You just kind of have to believe enough with the quote unquote the proof that you have of I don't know. I think it's the same thing.
I think it's the same thing. That's exactly like you have to have faith for both. And so I'm crazy for thinking that beings from another planet outside of our solar system, a physical manifestation of flesh and blood being could have come from the stars and come down to Earth. I'm crazy to think that. But if it was the other way, if I was in the church and I'm preaching about Jesus and his miracles, that's not crazy.
Yeah, or the angels.
Yeah, the angels
with wings.
So do we not believe that they're real, or we just think they're metaphors? Is that like that's what I'm not understanding here? Maybe that's my own religious
block.
The
listeners, because I guess I'm kidding.
Right. Anybody that is active in the church, can you please explain to me if these are real beliefs in like physical angels, or if it's literally like a metaphor?
Like you trust that, Well, growing up Catholic, you just believe because somebody told you that this angel appeared. Like for me, the angel appeared to Virgen de Guadalupe, right? To the depiction of Virgin Mary in Mexico. And you just believe that.
Yeah.
And that was it. Did I ever see that? No. Did the church painted it really pretty for me to believe it? Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The only thing is nobody's painting you out there a really good picture to believe in ETs.
Yeah. Unless
you're in the church of aliens.
I don't know. Is there a church like that?
Yeah, you know what? There's several churches I know, at least here in California, Well, Scientology is like one of them.
Is that that's a
I
thing?
think Scientology.
That's the basis of it?
I know. I don't think that's the base. They do believe that it was like aliens.
Oh.
But I believe so. Yes. But there is one. I remember there's one here in San Diego, and it's like the Church of Science and Aliens. Actually, there's one in Escondido here in California, and one in El Cajon. They're different, but one is the Church of Christ and Aliens or something like that.
Interesting.
You should go check it out.
Yeah.
Interesting. But they do these, these institutions do exist out there, but do we know about them? No. But I do believe, like I have a lot of friends that are Mormons, and I think they believe also in an alien theory.
Really?
I'm almost positive
Like
that there
as the Mormon faith, or just like your friends specifically?
No. As the Mormon faith, because I remember what my last like more corporate job, I love them so much, and they, I'm this Mexican chick who's not Catholic or anything, but they are Mormon, and I love them, and I always being curious to ask questions, so I always ask them like a lot of questions, and I was like, hey, I want to learn about Mormons, like what's up? Asking my boss, do you have 17 wives? And he's like, no, not that type of Mormon. But I do remember having a conversation with his son one time where, because I believe the scriptures came, like the main leader went into like the woods and found like the scriptures and things like that. But I believe there is an association with like, because my uncle's also Mormon, like when the ends of days come, a ship comes down and picks up the good people.
Hello.
Yes. So I think so don't quote me. But I've heard these, I don't know a lot, but I do remember that because even my uncle said that. He's like, yeah, when like Judgment Day comes, there's going to be like a ship that is going to come down and pick up all the good people, to take it's not necessarily heaven. I don't believe he said heaven, but like a heaven-like planet, I believe.
Interesting.
And then whoever is not worthy is going to stay behind and kind of go through the apocalypse.
Yeah. And die of fiery or death.
He did use the word a big ship.
Interesting.
And I don't believe he used heaven. I think he said like a heavenly planet.
Interesting.
So if that doesn't tell you, E.T., the church is telling you you're going to go live in a cloud in heaven.
Yeah.
That's how heaven is.
Yeah. How do we know that it's not,
I don't know.
a planet?
Yeah.
Interesting. I think forever too, it was like you're thinking of like the rapture and everything metaphorically, essentially, which we know in like however million years down the road, like Earth is going to die. It's going to burn up. It's going to get too hot. It's getting closer to the sun. But we always think of things that are just metaphors, right? And I think that's like a big one. Like whenever I think of the rapture, I think of like, the planet falling apart and everybody burning to death or whatever. And then those people, I don't know why I always believe this, but like the people that were like worthy, like their souls went to heaven. I just figured we all died. I think everybody died, and the worthy ones went to heaven and the other ones just died.
Yeah. I don't know. So I'm thinking everybody died, and
I don't know. Maybe
you
not.
want to be displaced to. But every time I say like the rapture, every time I heard that word, because it's not a word I grew up with, I always feel like there's gonna be this big dinosaur coming in,
like a raptor,
a
velociraptor.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That's so funny.
But that is, it all comes back to belief, and it's okay if you believe in a heaven or no heaven at all, or you go back into the earth and just shrivel and become nothing. And I have friends that are super, science-based atheists, and they're like, now we're just matter and energy, and it's gonna go back to the earth and be repurposed, and that's it. And I'm like, haha, repurpose. How are you coming back? Is that a
what does that mean?
Yeah, reincarnation. They're like, no. I'm like, okay.
just broken down and fed to the mycelial network.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Perfect. Maybe there's a whole life underneath the planet.
Ooh,
that goes deep.
That's super funny that you say that, because I literally just threw that on our topic idea spreadsheet. I was like, Earth people?
Oh, yeah.
And because I was thinking about that movie, Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Oh,
I think there's also a
I
book.
actually never seen that movie.
Okay, so we're gonna watch it, and then
Okay.
we're going to have an episode about it because
Ooh, okay, love that.
it's so good. There's an old one, a new one, and there's also a book. It's based off a book. It's so good.
Ooh,
Okay,
okay.
we gotta watch it. Okay, back to ancient astronaut theory. So, ancient astronaut theory is the to recap is the belief that ETs visited Earth in the distant past and influenced early human civilizations. So it is said the basis of the theory is that these gods, that they were gods essentially, these gods, these deities were ETs that came here to kind of speed up our evolution in a way.
Are the monkeys still involved?
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
There is this theory around that gods, in quotations, came down to Earth and genetically like spliced and created their own species of human. So like human, and that's why like the evolution theory isn't technically incorrect because yes, we came from apes. We're just like genetically modified apes. We're genetically engineered monkeys.
Okay. It's so interesting when you say that because if you ever seen like, of course the evolution, right?
Yeah.
Like the little monkey up to the man. So funny, I was saying the little monkey up to my husband. So when you see that, but then when you see like the skulls of evolution, there are several that are like supposedly, they're like, oh, still part of the ape family, but it has like really long cranial, like the heads, but then you see other ETs and civilizations that was the shape. And I was like, okay, is it really an ape or is it a modified ape?
Yeah, exactly. Or just a bunch of different genetics thrown together to create whatever the heck we are supposed to be. Who knows? Because there's also this other theory about that there's technically, I don't know how people figured this out, 22 different species of alien beings on Earth. Like their genetics.
Oh, okay. I think I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a lot. But like
22. Alien species.
Like alien genetics mixed into ours.
Okay.
So we're like this
Then
modge
how are we fighting it? If we know that there's 22
I don't know how we know that.
Oh.
You know, like I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if that's like
I've
real
heard,
scientific fact or not. You know what I mean? Like how would we know that?
Okay.
I don't know. Because to us, our DNA is just our DNA.
True.
Right? We don't have anything to compare it to.
Yeah.
Yet. Right? So how could we possibly come up with that conclusion, 22 different alien species?
Where do you find these 22 aliens to match and be like,
to match DNA
you
to.
are part, gray, there's part Anunnaki, there's part like
how do you, exactly.
Interesting.
Unless there's just some archive of information that we
probably
don't have access to. I don't know.
Okay, another disclosure, there's going to be a really good chance that in this episode will be back and forth. There'll be a lot of questions and we'll be off topic and circle back. Thank you. Okay.
Disclosure over. Okay. So this theory has a really fun hypothesis connected to Poseidon. And I went a little bit deep into it because Poseidon, as we know, is the Greek god of the sea, earthquakes, and horses.
Oh, yeah.
And he was a Greek god. And so he is said to be one of these ETs that came down to influence civilizations. So if you think about Poseidon, you picture him, in the ocean, this big
Triton.
Yes, with the trident, exactly, and all this stuff. So here is some evidence behind why Poseidon is an alien. That is such a crazy sentence to say. Poseidon's trident, think about what it's used for. It's a great weapon causing storms, earthquakes, right? It's this all magical, powerful staff-like weapon, right? And this could represent advanced technology, right? If this was real, not metaphoric, this is an advanced weapon that can literally control the weather.
Like chemtrails.
Exactly, which we know is true.
Yeah.
Literally, like we can make it rain. The government's already disclosed this. Like, yes, that is real. We can force it to rain, which is also like, I wonder how long that takes. Like, I'm thinking about it with all these fires, which just real quick, my heart goes out to LA and everybody affected by these fires. It's really, really horrific. If you have the means to donate. Anyways, my question is, if we can make it freaking rain, how quick is that turnaround? Because with all these fires, like why
Why
aren't we using that resource? Like, granted, chemicals and horrible things for our bodies aside, like, isn't this what we should be using it for if we have that technology? I don't know, whatever.
Absolutely. Okay.
Solving the world's problems over here. Anyways, so we know that weather manipulation is possible.
Okay.
So why is this trident such an outlandish thing that could be real? Right?
Yeah.
It's not. It's really not.
Yes.
So in the myth, the Greek myth of Poseidon, he fathered 5 sets of twin boys, as well as of twin boys. Does that not sound like genetic intervention? Okay. As well as like numerous hybrid creatures like centaurs and cyclops that reflect genetic experimentation.
And those
Right?
all are part of Poseidon. Like he fathered them.
Yes. Yes.
So centaurs did not exist prior till him fathering them. He was like the one
Yeah.
gene that was okay.
Apparently. I mean, again,
Okay.
who knows how
Okay.
accurate this is, but
Okay.
right? I mean, the Greek gods essentially are supposed to be like the oldest of the gods,
true.
right? In all of these texts. So, I mean,
Yes.
it doesn't not sound correct.
No. But it's what the belief is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a theory around that obviously being genetic experimentation, but also a theory that he birthed so many children and offspring to make slaves out of them to build,
Oh my gosh.
yes, to build his city. And if you didn't know, Poseidon is actually, he created Atlantis. He is credited with building Atlantis.
Based on slaves that he created?
Yes. So
Who are
he is
these mothers?
an alien, right? That came down here. He bred with mortal,
with whom-
whoever
yeah,
was here to create these slaves to build
Wow.
the city of Atlantis.
Dang.
That's the theory.
Talk about child exploitation.
Yeah, right? And so he's also described riding a chariot pulled by sea creatures, which could be interpreted as some kind of amphibious vehicle,
Okay.
right? Like a submarine.
Yeah.
So it's like now we have technology that we can compare this stuff to,
Yeah.
right? Whereas I understand, like, even a couple hundred years ago, people were like, an amphibious vehicle, that's outlandish. But like,
No, not
it's
really.
possible, right?
Yeah.
Like, we've made it happen.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of this stuff starts to make a little bit more sense once we realize, like, one, how much we don't know, and two, it's all kind of possible because we're doing it.
Yes, we are. People
Right?
never thought we could fly. It's like, yeah, why not
Yeah.
pig will fly? Well, now they fight pigs, cows, people. All right.
Yeah. So Atlantis, Poseidon was said to be the creator of Atlantis, which Plato described as a highly advanced civilization that existed 9,000 years before his time, before Plato's time, which was Plato's a Greek philosopher. He was around in 360 BCE. So 9,000 years before that, I'm not going to math
Wow.
that hard, is when Atlantis was said to be created.
Wow.
Yeah. So
And it's the civilization everybody's always looking for, the city.
always the lost city
Yeah,
of
the lost
Atlantis.
city of
It's
Atlantis.
always like this, treasure trove. It's
like another holy grail.
Total. Oh my God. For real.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a lot of connections with Atlantis and ETs in this whole theory. There's a lot of Atlantis is everywhere and it is super fascinating. So Atlantis is technically, supposedly, is happening over there.
Sorry, trying to rearrange myself.
So Atlantis is a myth, essentially, that Plato used in a metaphoric sense rather than a physical place. That is like what we are led to believe, right? Even though Plato even says in his writings that the gods were flesh and blood. He says this.
Okay.
So we just don't believe him? We just write it off? It's kind of like the Book of Enoch, right? Like the book of the Bible that was just pulled out because they decided they didn't want to talk about it, which is kind of the same thing.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
angels falling from the sky, or people coming from the sky down to support Earth.
Yeah, it doesn't support the product they want to sell.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, oh, let's just rip that out. They don't
Exactly.
need to know that.
Yeah.
Keep them slave.
Exactly. Keep them dumb.
Yeah. Keep them done.
Exactly.
Okay. Poor
But
Plato.
yeah, I know, poor Plato, right? If you only knew what happened. later down the road. So Atlantis is the theory behind Atlantis is it's an ET colony where advanced knowledge was passed on to early humans. So if Plato was telling the truth and it was a physical place, which he describes in detail, like literally like
How
there's
does he
measurements.
get this information? Maybe he was channeling. Maybe he was a descendant.
Maybe he was an alien himself.
Oh,
I don't know.
like
Or
that
a
better.
messenger of God like Jesus. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I love this. Okay.
Right? I know. It's just so fascinating to
I
me.
want to go read about Plato now.
I know, right? There's a lot. I had to reel it in quite a bit. So according to Plato, Atlantis was an extremely sophisticated society that the gods eventually got sick of. So they submerged it beneath the ocean with a catastrophic flood.
Oh,
Now, doesn't that sound familiar?
yes.
The Great Flood,
Yep.
right?
Absolutely.
So Plato could essentially, like, this could literally be, Atlantis could literally be in the missing book of the Bible. What about the Dead Sea Scrolls? That's
What
a
if it
thing.
was no Noah, no Ark? It was just Atlantis. Because we don't know that, you know?
Think of Noah's Ark. What we were gathering two of everything
Yeah.
to keep the genetics alive.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty consistent to me.
Yeah. Ooh, a little chilling.
It's interesting, right?
Yes.
So Atlanteans were alien, essentially, an alien hybrid race that were genetically modified by extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
Okay, fun drinking game. Every time I say ET or extraterrestrials, take a shot of tea. You guys are going to get trashed if you play that game. Don't do it. Okay.
I may need a refill.
It's tea. I promise. It's not. It's blue, you guys. It's
It
Kool-Aid.
is blue. Let's see. Let's see if those watching can see it.
No, you can't see
Probably
it.
not. I don't.
Oh, a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah, I don't want to
She
spill.
pours tea all over the carpet.
No. It is blue.
Hey, it's blue, like the Atlanteans are said to be.
Oh yeah.
Funny. Okay, so the myth describes advanced knowledge being passed on to these people of Atlantis. So the gods come down, Poseidon created Atlantis, and they're giving them all these information to advance their civilization. So Atlantis is said to be the most sophisticated civilization. It's way beyond its time, advancements with technology, and the people are actually supposed to have longer lifespans. They're super powerful people with otherworldly strength and abilities.
Ooh.
And this is all like Plato's descriptions.
Yeah.
You know, obviously translated into English, but you get it. So the advanced technology from the ETs, just kidding, are energy systems, flying machines, knowledge of the stars and space, like literal, like constellations and stars and planets that they could not see. They didn't have telescopes. They couldn't see with the naked eye. Well, maybe they did, but
Yeah, well, they
according to us,
yeah.
they didn't. How could they see all of these, have this knowledge written down, documented, if it wasn't, given to them by a source? Right? Okay. So Atlantis was a lost alien colony. Here's another theory. So Atlantis was a lost alien colony or an ET outpost that was destroyed due to war, misuse of technology, or natural disaster. Or the reason we can't find Atlantis is because it travels.
Oh, I like that.
Right? So if you think about like the way that Atlantis is supposed to look, it's like a hub and then like moat and then a little like land around, right? It's like circles.
Yeah. It's just
like
running away
rings.
from the people that's trying to find it.
Yeah.
Because if it had all this technology and all this, advancements, the people that are trying to actively find it, they just want to like get it so they can learn their power to control the rest of the civilization. So yeah, screw you, they say. Like, bye, catch us if you can.
Or it's a traveling like support system,
Ooh.
right? Like it can travel to different planets supporting like the species or whatever to help advancement.
Oh, would love it right on that.
Right? That would be so right. That'd be so interesting.
It'd
Like
be
I
cool
said,
to be
there's
doing
so
the
much stuff here.
podcast from there.
Right? Just floating around space and popping off on each planet. And
Watch us be freaking slaved.
that's what, we would be enslaved for sure. It would not go well at all.
Can
Oh my
we
gosh.
record here? Singing. And they're slaves.
How would we transmute our podcast out? We need Elon and his satellites to help us. Ridiculous. Anyways, so backing up towards the Great Flood. And so if Atlantis was destroyed by a natural disaster, it was more likely a flood. So Atlantis' destruction is consistent with depictions of floods in multiple texts, like the Bible we just talked about, Noah's Ark, and also the Epic of Gilgamesh in Sumeria, where ETs caused or warned of this flood catastrophe. Super interesting.
Interesting.
Okay, so if you think about that whole entire timeline, so Atlantis was built, they was here to help the human race evolve or whatever, and then it was destroyed. How do we know about it?
Yeah. I don't
Right?
know. Was there any evidence? Are there any artifacts left somewhere? Like who's inventing this really cool story?
Yeah, right? Or is it just,
who made it up?
an imagination? Somebody had a really cool fever dream. I don't know. Maybe we're all in a dream right now. That's all
we
part of
are.
it.
Yeah. Okay.
But they're said to be survivors.
Ooh.
And this theory that ETs never left,
Okay. I get that.
right? And they're still here spreading knowledge to civilizations, helping us around the world evolve. And I have a problem with this theory. Because if they were really here trying to help us evolve, what the hell is going on in the world? Like, how are we? I feel like we're like going backwards. I don't feel like.
Which ETs got left behind?
Yeah.
Are these nefarious ETs?
Yeah.
Are like, this planet is going to the pooper. Let's just let them continue. Let's feed into that.
Yeah, that's how I feel. But I don't know. That there's also past life regressionists. So, of course, I had to go down that road because, in case you guys didn't know, I'm a past life regressionist. That often find people describing this utopian, sophisticated civilization that is very consistent with what Plato described as Atlantis.
Dang.
They describe beings, they describe the rings around the city. Like, they describe it very vividly as if they were in Atlantis when the Great Flood happened and died. And then they're reincarnated into one of our bodies,
Wow, yeah.
and having these past life memories about their time in Atlantis.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Super, super interesting.
This is gnarly. It's a lot to take in.
I know. This is why we have to do a two-parter, because it's just so much information that we have to digest.
Wow.
Totally.
Okay.
I know. Atlantis is so fascinating. There's a lot more to that, but I really liked this, like, kind of the basis of this theory of the theory of Atlantis. So why this is a fun transition into the next thing I want to talk about. So these survivors that go under hypnosis regression and share their experience in Atlantis. There's also a theory of time travel.
Okay.
That people from Atlantis had that advanced technology and they time traveled to the future and they're just living among us
Okay.
and trying to spread the good word of Atlantis.
Oh, okay. Okay. Like that too.
Yeah.
Spread. Okay.
I don't hate that theory, especially because
Can they travel and, do nefarious things? Because just where we are is kind of difficult. Or what has happened on Earth.
yeah.
Anywho, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. But I like the time travel thing. I like
do.
that theory a lot.
Yeah.
And I also, so when I jumped down the rabbit hole of the time travel thing, so remember earlier we were talking about like weather machines and it's so crazy how Poseidon could control the weather. And then we realized we can control the weather. It's not that outlandish. Okay, well, maybe that's the same with time travel. Okay, here's another fun theory.
Okay.
Okay, so
I want to know how.
this section is called Nazis, Time Travel, and Ancient Astronauts.
What?
Yeah, so moving from Atlantis, fast forward thousands of years to 1936. And Jan van Helsing wrote a book that claimed a bell-shaped UFO crashed in Germany during the Third Reich. And Hitler obtained this craft and began to reverse engineer it. So I bring up the bell-shaped craft, and I bring this up specifically. I know it seems like I just jumped topics, right? Well, this bell-shaped craft is extremely consistent with different crafts that were depicted in Plato's writings and the city of Atlantis and this ancient astronaut theory of gods coming down from the heavens to influence man. The bell-shaped craft is extremely consistent across cultures.
Wow.
Yes. So this bell-shaped craft, it's consistent across the cultures and depictions in like Buddhist texts, and it's called the stupa. Yes, right?
Yes.
And the Vimanas in Vedic texts were said to be in this shape too. And the Vimanas, I know we'll talk about that a little bit later, but are these chariots that the gods ride down from the heavens. And they're all in this bell-like shape called a stupa.
Okay.
And funny, connection to modern day, Elon Musk a couple years ago unveiled, thinking like what I'm trying to say, the dragon craft, and guess what shape it's in?
A bell shape.
Pretty much a bell shape.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Wow. Okay.
So during World War II, there was talk of this bell-shaped craft being replicated by Dr. Hammond. It's a German scientist known as the father of rockets that Hitler hired to, build his nuclear weapons and all that stuff. So Dr. Hammond, studying Vedic texts to support his project. And there's documents, like this is fact. Like this isn't like, this is real. And there's like also like video of him talking about it. So this bell-shaped craft that Hammond was creating was theorized to have something to do with time travel or anti-gravity powered by Mercury. So this like Mercury theory and this anti-gravity is extremely consistent with multiple counts of reverse engineering spacecraft.
Wow.
And it also would be super consistent with the propulsion systems of current day UFO sightings.
Wow.
Right? That like, hovering and being able to move on a dime and a swivel or whatever, which would we would need anti-gravity technology.
Yeah.
Right? It's so good, you guys.
Crazy. That is insane.
Yeah.
I did not know about that theory that it had crashed. And
yeah. So that was in 1936. That was before World War II. And when did World War II start? It was only a couple of years, right? I don't know, whatever. I know it ended in 45. But so after the war, the bell disappeared along with its engineer, Hans Kammler.
oh,
And many speculate that it was time travel or space travel,
ooh, okay.
right?
So Hans may be having fun someplace else.
Yeah, right?
And
On a
maybe still
different
living.
dimension. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe elongated life, 300 years.
Maybe.
Nice.
Or maybe he came back. Ready? Okay.
Oh.
So Operation Paperclip is yes, I know. So this Operation Paperclip is 1,600 German scientists were brought to the U.S. after World War II in 1945. Several were to be assumed that it worked with Dr. Hammond. So on this bell-shaped craft with whatever the heck they were trying to accomplish with that. And they were brought here to engineer advanced military technology, rockets, all that stuff after the war. So where did this info, come from?
Yes.
Of advanced technology, of new weaponry and all this stuff. And how come we wanted these German soldiers after the war already ended? I don't know. So many questions.
Well, is the U.S. wanting them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we always want to,
Yeah.
match something else. But okay, so they must have known of this craft.
Exactly.
And then they're like, okay, now we want the people that work on the craft to see if they can replicate what they were doing there, doing it here. And they got these people to come over and be like, hey, either help us or I'll shoot you. And
Yeah, right.
and then we ask them to. So I'm thinking there should be records of this or
there are.
classified records.
There's tons and tons of documents about reverse engineering this craft, and there's blueprints and all kinds of stuff, government documents and everything else.
Okay.
Because Operation Paperclip is obviously a government run.
Why are these ridiculous names?
I know they're really funny.
Operation Paperclip. Like,
So nobody takes it seriously, I guess. I don't know. But
Operation Paperweight.
so that was it. Yeah, paperweight. What's that one? So that was 1945 that they essentially we went and recruited all these German scientists to come and start reverse engineering or creating military weapons under this Operation Paperclip. In my opinion, it was all just a cover up to get them to reverse engineer some more craft.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so fast forward to 1965, December 9th, 1965.
Okay.
Kecksburg, Pennsylvania.
Ooh, that gives me the chills. Okay.
So here's what happened. There were lots of local accounts that said they saw a fireball fly across the sky and land in a heavily wooded area. A shiny metallic bell-shaped craft was found by nearby residents in this heavily wooded area. Interesting, right?
Okay.
So this craft had strange symbols all around the bottom lip. Like, you think of a bell shape, the bottom lip had all these strange symbols that were raised off of it that nobody could understand. To this day, there are UFO sightings in that area all the time. They're constantly being reported. I'm always scouring the internet, like MUFON always has, like, you can report a UFO. So I'm like always on their little archives of where are the UFOs? And they're all over the place in Pennsylvania, around this area for sure. It's super interesting. But locals that found this bell-shaped craft say that the military showed up and quarantined the area almost immediately.
Wow.
It was super fast. But some teens, so I watched a bunch of documentaries and also pulled a bunch of info off the internet. So there were some teenage boys, Ron and Bill to be exact, snuck down there because they lived in that area and watched. They were telling authorities this, like the police were interviewing them. And they were telling the authorities that they snuck down there and they started watching. And there's voice recordings of them saying that they think that there was something inside of it. Like they felt, they saw like a being, something inside of it.
Oh.
So who knows?
First, I would think, I was like, well, what if it was the German scientists who had reverse engineer and then send that out to fly and it crashed in Pennsylvania?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
But,
look at the time difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 1945 to 1965.
I know. Well, maybe it takes them a long time maybe to create one of those. And that's why, they're testing it out and it crashed. But if they said they saw a being inside, could it have been a human testing it out or an actual like alien?
I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah. Good question. Who knows?
All right.
Yeah. I think the theory of it being, one of us testing out a craft is probably pretty up there, I would say. My opinion.
Yeah.
I would like to believe that it's, a little green alien or something.
Yeah.
But, so these guys, Bill and Ron, snuck down there and they were watching all this stuff go down. So they watched a military officer repeatedly like striking the top of it. And you could hear like metallic, they're hitting this metallic thing to try to get it to open. And once it finally popped open, it was like a hinged door that popped up. Bill and Ron said that everybody started to freak out and they were just like immediately panicking and trying to hurry up. At that point, everything felt like we're in a hurry now. We need to get rushed.
Oh, so they weren't like scared, freaking out, like trying to leave. They're like, oh, let's get all this together and like, pick it up and go.
Book it. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So at that point is when they started to quickly get this bell-shaped craft onto a flatbed trailer and hauled it out of there.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they probably did see something inside for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. So UFO historian and Project Blue Book member Ginny Zeidman. So Project Blue Book is a top secret government program that was issued to investigate UFO phenomenon from 1947 to 1969, I believe. I could be wrong on that one. But it was based out of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which is right around there.
Yeah.
So Ginny Zeidman did an interview where she basically said, and she has case files on all this stuff, this specific incident and everything, because that was her job, was going and investigating all this stuff for the government to give information so that they could kind of figure out, okay, what the heck is going on with this actual UFO phenomenon, in the 50s. And so she says that it's all a government cover up. The government file states that it was a meteor. And then it goes in like a few sentences later to state that it was actually moving too slow to be a meteor. So the actual like class of like the actual description of what happened, like official statement, is that it was a meteor. But then in this same document, it says it was moving too slow to be a meteor, and there is evidence that it changed course in flight. So, like, if it was a meteor, it wouldn't freaking make a right angle.
Of course.
Like,
Which
what?
is consistent with UFOs.
Exactly.
They change course.
Yes,
Okay.
just with that proportion system like we
Yeah.
were talking about earlier, right? Jenny says it was being covered up because the government doesn't want to admit that they, the aliens, are more advanced than us, which would mean we were inferior, and this would just cause mass chaos. You know, if the humans, figured out that our government was lying to us,
Oh gosh.
then it would cause
No
mass
wonder
chaos.
this was in the 60s.
Yeah.
When we still believe in the government. Yeah.
For
Okay.
real. Jesus.
All right.
But others speculate that this bell-shaped craft could be the same bell-shaped craft engineered by Nazi Germany
Oh.
that disappeared in 1945. Remember?
back.
Remember, it disappeared
Time
with
travel.
Hans in it.
Was it Hans in there? Oh my gosh.
Who
They open and
knows?
they're like, oh, this is that guy.
Yeah. Who knows?
Wow.
Could have been.
Interesting.
And then, so we'll link that back to ancient astronaut theory. Hans, let's just go off of that. This was time travel.
Yeah.
And Nazi Germany figured out how to time travel, which is absolutely terrifying. Would Hans be considered an alien?
Well, I don't know. If you just took, well, it's like if you
had no prior knowledge of any of that other stuff, and this guy came out of the sky.
Oh, yeah. He would be considered. But then if somebody recognized him, it's like, hey, I work with this guy. Like,
a million
he's not
years
an
ago.
alien. Maybe he is a little bit because he still looks 50.
Yeah.
And I'm 80. But he would be considered probably.
I don't know. So then,
Unless they knew, like, oh, this is actually Hans, then where have you been? All this. I would like to know if there was any record of the person who opened it. Like that.
like
because
some
there had to-
whistleblower kind of thing. Like, who were these people these military officers that were there?
Because
during this
come
time?
on, your NDA cannot be for life.
Yeah,
come
I'm
on,
curious.
it probably expired.
Yeah, at what point? Like,
And they're like, when you die. Okay,
Yeah.
so the children of those people,
yeah, I know. Could they get in trouble for that?
I don't know.
Probably. Let's be honest.
Oh, come on. They're probably in their family. They have some rebel who doesn't care. Please tell us.
Yeah, seriously, please. Yeah, so
Fascinating.
ancient astronaut theory. So thinking about this whole entire time travel situation, what if the gods are literally just moving through space and time? And it's Atlantis theory that it's just a spacecraft that lands on planets and we're capable of time travel. So the reason I read this whole Kecksburg story linked to the Nazi Germany story is because it could be related to time travel. It could be just more evidence that we got this information from ETs during the war that pushed us forward into finding out and to engineering a time travel machine, essentially.
Yeah. Interesting. So, okay, with Atlantis, and I know Graham has on his show on Netflix, Ancient Civilizations. I can't remember what season, but there is a place where it's believed to be the road to Atlantis. So, well, maybe on their way out, they're like, oh, let's drop, these pillars here and make them think so they can go on a wild goose chase while we're traveling.
Totally. Oh,
I
interesting.
wonder when they're going to come back. I don't know. Here building new
They
theories.
never left.
I know.
They're still here.
They're
Yeah, and all of those structures, which will be a big part of part 2 of this episode, is going to be going into like different ancient civilizations and how the ancient astronaut theory was influenced in each specific area. But those areas and all those megalithic structures are all evidence of ETs, of this theory, because just like Atlantis, they would have had to have advanced tools, advanced technology to accomplish building these structures, right? So it all connects together. Nazi aliens or not. Time travel, whatever.
I love it.
But the question still stands. Gods or aliens?
Both.
I like
I
it.
don't know. Oh, that's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Wow.
I know. It gives you so much to think about, you know? It kind of changes your perspective a little bit on like, now you're going to go read the Bible and be like, alien, 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 alien.
Yeah.
Or, it's terrible.
It's just a depiction by culture. you
Totally.
know?
Yeah. There's so much through different cultures, which we'll talk about later, but around this theory. And it just seems so insane to me that we will believe blindly in Jesus, in God, in different deities and all these things and angels and all this stuff. We will believe in that because we were told to.
Yeah.
But the second anything like this presents itself, that, hey, maybe there is a life on other planets that are actually here to influence us and help us. That's crazy. Isn't that what God is?
Yeah.
I mean, if he's not a physical being on another planet, he's still an energetic, sentient, like
Absolutely.
something.
Yeah, but as soon as you challenge it, it's, it won't make any money anymore.
Yeah.
As soon as you challenge it, it's like, oh, you get gaslit into, oh, you're not believer
Yeah.
or, just, oh,
Yeah.
I can't.
I think if we came out and actually said that, yes, this theory is truth, I think it would like dismantle. It would, well, it would.
Everything.
It would dismantle everything.
All religions out there.
All of them.
Yeah, it'll make everybody
But
question
it
and
doesn't
congregations.
have to either.
Yeah, but when you have kind of brought all these people to submission of like, this is what if you veer away from this belief, you will go to hell, or you're not longer worthy, or just because you have some questions is wrong to do that. You can't question anything in the church. Like, you have to blindly believe. And if as soon as you do, you may need to be exorcised. Like,
true.
you're it's going away just because it's all for the control of the people. And I feel that that's the strongest thing. It's like they want to keep you under some sort of like, hey, even if it's not necessarily like evil control, right? But hey, go to church every Sunday. This is how you advance. This is how you pave your way to heaven.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then you believe that if you veer away from that, you will not go to a heaven. You will either be in purgatory or you'll go to hell. So that's what it is. All religions is basically continue to do well and do good and support and, support each other. And I think everyone can do that without a religion.
Yeah.
Be a kind human. Just don't be a punk. Just,
don't
like,
be a dick.
yeah, don't do that. Like, just be kind to each other. Be humble. And I believe, like I've seen it, like it's whatever we call it, we all want the same thing at the end.
Yeah.
All religions is supposed to want the same thing at the end. And we're not negating that. It's just like, let's come together, people.
Yeah, but it's also like, why couldn't this theory kind of go hand in hand with religion? Like, okay, just because God is now an alien and might actually be a physical being, why does that have to dismantle all the rest of the beliefs?
Yeah, because probably the majority of religions in the world don't, like that does not apply to them. Like they all are the same. Like there's like Scientology and others that are like, yeah, alien kind. Yep, I get that. But the majority Christianity just, it has, what movements has it done in the world? Like popes have, killed so many people for being disbelievers because we have to submit people to a one type of belief, and that is the belief in an almighty
that would make
God.
Their actions unjust.
Yeah.
In their eyes. Yeah.
And it would just,
even though their actions are absolutely unjust anyways, but
yeah. So no, I'm just like have so many feelings.
Yeah.
And at the same time, no.
Absolutely.
It's insane.
Well, I think this is a good place to stop. And we'll pick it up again with part 2 next week.
Yes.
Next week isn't tomorrow for us, but you guys don't get to hear about it for another week. With ancient civilizations in ancient astronaut theory, and we're going to go deep into lots of different places around the world that, again, supports this theory. So now that we know what it is, ancient astronaut theory, and somehow connected it to Nazi Germany, on the Enlightenment scale,
Oh gosh. Okay, what?
where, let's do two.
Okay.
Atlantis on the Enlightenment scale. Where does Atlantis fall in there?
I'm going to give him a 77.
Oh, wow.
I wanted to give him very high, but they're hiding.
That's true. That's
So
true.
that
They're being a
dropped
little
there.
stingy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm have to drop them.
Yeah. You know what? That's true. Atlanteans, show yourselves, and we'll raise
Yes.
the scale.
Because I was like, ooh,
Because-
like 120. And I was like, you know what? No.
The scale ends at 111.
Oh,
Right?
111. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
But yeah, only because of that.
Okay. Okay. So now
they're
just
pretty
the
up.
whole theory in general.
Oh, I love the theory. I do love the theory. I'm definitely going to dive into Plato. The whole theory for me, I'm going to say, I think in honesty, a solid 88.
Oh, okay. I'm actually a little surprised by that number. I thought it would be way higher than that.
Only because I have a lot of questions.
Oh, yeah, always. I always
So-
have a lot of questions.
Yeah, I think I'm being stingy with my numbers
this is so
today.
weird. I feel like we totally switched places. Usually I'm over here like, none of this is real. This is all fake, a bunch of shit. And you're like, no, it's this. And now we totally switched. I'm like, aliens all the way. This is what happened. And you're like, I don't know.
Like I do believe I have more I want to know more.
Yeah,
That's my problem,
always.
that I want to
It's
know
not a problem.
more.
It's great.
I want to know.
We're curious.
Where's this ship? What happened to Hans? I'm
where is
really
Hans?
curious to
Right?
know where he is.
Where is this guy?
Was he there when you said that? I was like all picturing him like all like knocked out.
Yeah,
in the,
but
in
he
the
would have been
thing.
dead, right?
Maybe.
Like, there's no way.
Yeah, maybe he's
Who
just
knows?
like, oh my gosh, I don't know. I just my imagination goes wild. But no, I highly believe in the theory for sure. I just have a lot of questions that can solidify that.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. Me too. Lots of questions. Like, it wasn't just Poseidon. There was a lot
that was
more,
fascinating.
right? There's a lot more gods that not just Poseidon that are, credited with being ETs as well. So
Absolutely. So I'm very excited for a part 2 because that's
more
where
evidence.
we get.
We're going to solidify. I'm going to turn D into a believer.
Yeah. 100. I'm being stingy with my numbers. But yeah, I'm excited tomorrow. Next week we'll have the civilizations, and I'm so excited to talk about, all these pyramids that are there and these sites that hold so much energy and power, and we still want to say, oh yeah, this is how men did it. Nah, man can't do that.
Yeah.
Well, unless they were Atlanteans and then they were
had supernatural powers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they can carry these,
Or they had anti-gravity technology.
Yes.
Who knows?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but
Well, more to come. Thank you guys so much for listening. Tune in for part 2 next week. And as always, if you have any fun stories, ghost stories, you've seen an alien, please tell us about it.
if you know about Hans, I really want to know what
If you
happened
know
to
where
him.
Hans is, please.
Please let us know.
We need to know.
We would love that to know. So till next week, tune in, stay curious. Besitos. Bye.
Peace.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to follow us on social media at Witches Who Podcast.